So here we have a video from Steve Mould.
Glutamate, or MSG. It's a really interesting molecule. I'm about to try neat monosodium glutamate, or MSG. It's a really interesting molecule. Here's why. We have evolved the ability.
It's the ingredient they put in your Chinese food, you know. It's basically something they add to make the food taste better.
To detect protein in the food that we eat. And it makes sense that we would evolve that ability because protein is an important part of our diet. It's one of the 5
Pretty sneaky thing, isn't it? They are tricking our brain with basically like a fake ID card of
that we get from our tongues: sweet, sour, salt, bitter, and umami. Is that?
And here's a funny thing: umami is like a pretty recent thing, isn't it? I remember back in school, we used to be taught that, you know, sour, bitter, sweet, and such were the only tastes. And yeah, nobody talked about umami like a decade ago or something, or at least not in our schools. I mean, I wonder how much knowledge is outdated. I mean, think about it. Back then, in biology, for example, I remember very clearly our biology teacher used to tell us that a grown-up's brain doesn't get any better than he was in his youth, maybe around 18, when he hits peak brain mass or something. Like, they did acknowledge that you could gather more knowledge, but you couldn't get more brain cells. From that point on, so from the day you turn 18, your brain only degrades. Like they say, you could lose brain cells, for example, getting a baseball ball hit your head or something. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? When you look at NFL players, for example, they have a very big risk of brain injury and such, and boxers as well, right? These are really dangerous professions, not just because of the boxing, but also because of the traumatic brain damage that they will accumulate over time. And yeah, it turns out adults do grow brain cells when necessary. So it's not as fixed as they used to believe it to be. You do actually grow new neurons even when you're an adult. Now your neuroplasticity tends to become less plastic, so it's true that you're not having the advantage of the youth, but it's not that bad. And ultimately, it's just how much pressure from the environment do you have funneled in you in a efficient way, so it doesn't just break you, but instead makes you stronger. Do you have to force your millions of years of evolution to conserve energy to be overwritten by a much more higher priority task to actually deliver performance over power saving?
Or savoriness. It's actually a proxy for the presence of protein, because your umami sense is actually detecting the presence of glutamate, and glutamate is often found in the presence of protein. That means that you can add monosodium glutamate to a vegetable dish like vegetable chow mein, and it will...
Wait a fucking second. We do have Like, for example, soybeans. That's protein, right? Or at least it contains a lot of protein. It's obviously not animal protein, but it's still protein. He is making it sound like vegetables don't contain any protein at all. I know that's not what he's saying, but that's what, you know, some normie like us might think.
Trick your brain into thinking you're having a meal that is much more rich in protein than it really is.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Like, for example, chips and such manufacturers, um, they add these food additives, to trick our brain into thinking, oh, we're getting a really tasty, nutritious meal, whereas they're literally just feeding us junk, pretending to be valuable food.
It's like pure essence of savouriness.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, in the words of our Timu Jesus, what's his name? Jimmy, I think. Jeff? Most critical, or is it Asmongold? It's a fucking nothing burger. What the fuck is pure savoriness even supposed to taste like? It's almost always paired with the actual taste of the meal. Like what's pure savoriness? It doesn't tell us anything. Now, I think I had tasted that as well, and I don't recommend it. It tastes like a chemical that you're not supposed to eat. It tastes like something that could give you cancer. It tastes awful. It had a very mild hint of saltiness. I remember my tongue feeling awful. It tastes weird. The most distinct memory I have of that taste is it tastes like kind of sour and disgusting. Yeah, obviously I don't think it was meant to be eaten like that, but yeah. And maybe you can't make out from the video, it looks a little bit like salt or sugar. It looks distinctively different. It looks like small salt crystals, but very much elongated. So if we would imagine salt crystals as like, normal rice grains, these would look like basmati rice grains. Basically they look like salt but elongated and thinner, and yeah, they taste awful on their own. Maybe we're kind of smart, right? The brain is like, this, whatever the fuck this is, it's not supposed to be, like this. We're not supposed to have that. I don't get why he said it tastes like pure savoriness, because it doesn't tell us anything. Well, that's it all for